All right, hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little bit of time since we have done a mixed media canvas piece, and so I have gone ahead and prepared this canvas panel. I did cover the back of it just in case to try and keep it clean. And then I have a slight idea of what I want to do today, so you can see I've gathered some gear pieces and some flower chipboards. The gear pieces is from the Tim Holtz die set, and I just cut several of them and then glued them together to give them a little bit more sturdiness and a little bit more thickness, at least for all of the gears and the small numbers. The big numbers are just the regular size die cuts. And I know I kind of want to go for like a metallic-y kind of thing, but also with a little bit of nature thrown in. So I'm quickly going to just cover up the back of this. Don't mind these little scribbles down here. I was just testing some stuff out on that. And I think I want to go with kind of a darker, more neutral background. So I'm going to start off with this mushroom folk art. Okay, so that's clearly going to need more than one coat. I'll set that to the side to let it dry for now, because if you try to, I mean, acrylic dries pretty fast, but if you try to paint on top of it before it's dry, it will pull up the layer underneath it. So for the gears, I have a couple colors I can do here. And I think I'm going to start off with this bronze from Liquitex Basics. And I'm pretty sure that this will also need at least 2 layers, because for some reason these metallics do not like to cover in the first go. But I'm going to give this color to probably most of the gears, but I do want to throw in 1 or 2 other colors as well. Okay, and then I think I'll do the other ones in my light gold by Amsterdam. I also had this like kind of gunmetal silver, but I think most of the colors I'm going to be going with are going to be warmer colors. So I think, I don't know. What do you think? Should I do both of them? Gosh, now I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the gold, and I might be able to use maybe the silver as an accent later. Basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just getting a quick base of color on all of this, because when you start layering it up, it can get a little hard to get detailed with it. So I just find this a little bit easier. I'm going to hold off on the numbers now because I'm not quite sure what I want to do with those colors, but I think for the flowers, I'm so unsure now. Like, I had this whole idea in my head and now I have no idea. I'm not trusting myself anymore. I think for the flowers, I'll go with maybe some blue. Start with a light blue. I have this one here. This is watery blue from Folk Art. Okay, so you can see all of these are going to need more coats. I'm going to go ahead and do that off screen because I don't think you guys need to watch me do just millions upon millions of coats of stuff. So I'll do a couple. I'll let you know how many it took for each one. But when that is done, I will be back with you. Okay, so everything is covered and dry. The metal gears took about 3 coats, and then I did just 1 coat on the back as well, just in case you can somewhat see behind them. The flowers and the canvas took about 2 coats, and I just wanted to say, in case you weren't aware, each time you put another layer of acrylic on, just make sure you give it time to dry. I'm gonna go ahead and I want to add a little bit of texture to the back here, and I was thinking, I have these numbers that I could put on, and some of it'll end up getting covered up in the end, but that's okay. I just want to add that subtle texture in the background. So I think I'm going to do that. And what do I want to use for that? I think for that, whoops, slippery fingers. I think for that, I'm going to use my 50/50 PVA and water mix. Okay, so I will set this to the side to let it dry for a little while. And I was looking through, get some of this stuff out of the way because I'm going to need this space here for a second. I was looking through things to use for the kind of focal point, and I found this, it's a chipboard cutout from Tim Holtz. Let me see, it's the Etc., I believe. Yeah, so the Etc. Cathedral window. And I was thinking, be careful not to actually put it on this since there's wet glue there, to use this as kind of the focal point, and I think I'm going to bring it down, do something that kind of moves along this way. But for that, I need to give this a base coat, and I think I'm going to go in with some black, just because since it is pulling the focus towards the focal point, gosh, Brandy, that was intelligent of you. I want it to be a little darker. I also briefly thought about doing the numbers in black, but I think what's going to happen with the numbers is I'm just going to end up putting them on the canvas and then fussy painting them later. It's a little bit more of a hassle that way, but I just can't decide what colors I want until I get closer to that point.
The marble plinth carved in unpretentious verticals. Tall chair overlaying the top line, after years buried up on top of the issue space. Nothing guards the polished surface of the table except for 2 boxes of alkali leftovers arranged surfaces. Opening the box covered with golden porcelain and white petals, she removed the slim strip of thin paper from the top of 114 times pennies inside. For what must have been the 100th time, she read the message come from...
Okay, so I like that. I'm going to go ahead and sand off the edges of this as soon as I can find... There it is. Look, what did I do with my sandpaper? Okay, so you guys see how I'm doing that? I'm just going around the edges. I'm gonna do the rest of this over at my sink because it can get a little messy, and I'm not minding that some of that white's coming back through. That's gonna happen. So I will finish doing this and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I went ahead and sanded it down. I did sand over the paper as well, which is why where there was, and there weren't many because I actually did a pretty good job this time, which I don't usually, of laying it down, those are also rubbed away. And, let me think about this. Okay, so I know I want this to be about here. Do I want it maybe a little higher? Okay, so maybe more like here. And I want to do some painting behind that, so I'm just gonna grab my pencil. That apparently has no lead in it. Of course, of course. Okay, so I'm just gonna sketch in where it needs to get painted. And I'm gonna go with the base of black here. And it's okay if I go slightly outside the lines. I just want to make sure I don't come, you know, I don't fully fill it in because that's the inner part. So I have like, I don't know, what is that? Maybe a little less than a ½ centimeter thickness here. So I'm just gonna give it a black base quickly. Okay, so I just quickly want to make sure that this is going to cover everything and I don't need to widen it anywhere, which I can see I do. Just a little bit down here and a little bit up in this corner. Okay, and then you can see here, that's what I was talking about earlier. If you don't let the acrylic dry enough, it will pull up underneath it. So I'm gonna let this dry for a second and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I finished covering that up and I've just taped around the edges just to protect this a little bit because I want to do kind of like a starry, not starry night, like an aurora borealis kind of deal back there, I think is what I'm thinking I'm gonna go for. And I've only ever seen somebody do this technique. I've never actually tried it myself, so I do not know how well this is gonna work, but we're gonna give it a try. And I think I'm gonna go with this same blue. And then I think a little bit of yellow. I have this cadmium yellow and I'm kind of hoping that they'll mix a little bit so that it'll be like blue, green, yellow, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But yeah, I honestly have no idea if this is gonna work, so we may do this and then have to completely redo the whole thing. We will see. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that went. However, that being said, there's a couple spots I want to take out. So down here where it got a little mixed up, I want to take that out and make that fully black again. And then just where it got a little too thick up there, So, oops, I think I had a little too much water in there. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to quickly clean this up, and I should probably use a larger brush for this. I don't know why I'm using literally the smallest one. So I'm just going to come in and get rid of those marks down here. And then I want to kind of dull it down. It ended up a little brighter than I wanted it to. And that's really easily done with just a wash. And it didn't turn out quite as green and blue as I wanted it, so I think what I'm gonna do is actually do a green wash over it. Okay, so, don't know where that came from. I'm gonna go with this Deep Viridian. I want a green that's a little more on the bluish side, so I'm gonna mix it with just the teeniest bit of this Galaxy Blue for that wash. Okay, so you can see I was just testing that consistency there. This was a little too thick and a little too dark, I think. I may end up having to darken some spots again, but we'll see. So I'm just going to give that a light brush. Okay, so that's much more the color I was going for. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this completely dry. I'm going to do the same thing over top, because if you ever look at them, they're kind of layered looking. And then we'll move on from there. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm obviously going to need to work on that a little bit more as it's a brand new technique and this is going to be very much in the background. I am not worried about it. So normally I would do, you know, the chip on top and I'd put a, what do you call it, acetate behind it. But I don't feel like messing with the acetate today, so instead I'm gonna try something new. I have this iridescent medium here that should give it a nice sparkle, and I think that's gonna be enough to give the kind of glassy representation. Oh my gosh, that just went everywhere. I always forget how messy this is. I don't know why, but it traps lots of air in it, so every time I open it I have issues. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to give it 1, maybe 2 coats of the iridescent medium. And then once that's done, we can remove the tape and get moving on. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. You can see a little bit of that green wash came out here on the sides. That's fine. We're going to add some more texture back there anyway. I just wanted to keep most of it from getting through. And oh yes, I think that looks just wonderful. Okay, so set that to the side for a minute. Basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of play with building these pieces up and seeing how I like the layout, and deciding what I want to do as far as adding more texture to the background. Okay, so everything's dry and stuck in place. I need to decide what to do with these numbers. And I'm thinking... I am going to go ahead and go black with them. Because all these colors are going to get pulled a little bit further back when we start doing the aging and everything. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've got the numbers stuck down. This is going to take a little bit of time to dry. I'm just making sure nothing's moving around anywhere. Perfect. I don't want to really get any mediums on this. That's why this isn't attached yet. And it looks like it'll sit pretty nicely without having to put any support behind it, so that's good. I think I may want to do... Let's move it a little farther up there. There we go. A saying. I have chipboards with sayings, actually. These ones. Which most are going to be too big, but who knows? Maybe I can find something. Okay, so I found this one. I think that that's very telling with the... Whoops. Didn't mean to drop it. With the rest of the stuff that's going on here. There's life in the flowers, the Aurora Borealis, and then all the numbers and gears for that. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do... I'm going to have to add a little bit of color to that, but I'm going to wait because I haven't decided quite what I want yet. The next thing I want to do is add just a little bit of texture, like rusty texture around some of the gears, which I think, yeah, this is dry enough to do that. So I will do that now. So the first thing I'm going to start with, and I'm going to add this a little bit around the numbers as well, is the Distress Crackle Paint. And I'm going to put that a little bit farther out. And then I'm going to bring some grungier texture in. So we'll do that quickly. Okay, so it's going to be a little hard to see until we actually put color and stuff on it, and you can definitely see the grip paste better. I'm trying to get the shine from that crackle. But this is going to take a couple hours to dry because I did put it in pretty thick in some spots. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for a while, and then once everything's dry, I'll be right back with you guys. All right, hello, it is the next day. We are back. And this is all nice and dry now. So what I want to do is where the crackle paste is, I'm going to use a really watered down black just to get the black to seep into those cracks. And then everywhere that there's the actual grit paste, I'm going to just paint black as the base for our rest colors. Okay, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but hopefully you can, where it got into the cracks there. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go through over where like the cracks and stuff are. I'm going to use this same brown that I used in the background. And I'm going to use a very dry, stiff brush to do a little bit of dry brushing over this. Okay, I'm gonna keep dry brushing and I'm gonna switch to the light gold here, but now I'm just gonna pull from the top down to try and give a little bit of highlight. Okay, same thing, but with the bronze, and I'm gonna come from the side. Okay, so I just wanted to take a quick look at how everything was looking, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. We're going to add a little bit more turquoise back in here with this metallic aquamarine. And I'm going to use a dry brush for that as well, and then if I need to, I'll go in and actually do a little bit of like, you know, right around the edges, just making sure I'm getting the highlights that I want. Okay, so I am pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna probably end up adding a little more bronze or maybe some orange in, just for a little more contrast, but I'm really liking how that turned out. I want to check really quickly and make sure that everything's covered the way I want it to be. And I can see here that I want to add a little bit of variation to these two. It's just a little too concentrated, the color right there. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. And do I want to go with orange, or I'm going to stick with the bronze. I don't want to add any more colors. And I think I'm going to leave this pretty plain, but I will darken up the edges just to give it a little bit more separation from the background. Yeah, happy with that. I'm wondering if I want to... I think I might want to do glossy accents just on the clock face. Yeah, I think I'm going to. It'll just add another extra dimension. Everything's going to end up glossy because I'm using a high gloss varnish to varnish it. But this will give it a little bit more of a 3D look. Got ink all over me. Ink, paint, it's always something. Always something. I'm really happy with this. I like it. Now I just need to decide if I want to add the saying or not. Oh gosh, I can't decide. Okay, I cannot make up my mind. So what I will do is, if I can find something, hello. This will work. I need to give a little bit of boost to this side. I'm not going to keep this permanent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it up to you guys. So I'll get you pictures of it with and without. And then you can decide what I should do. Let me show you those now. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here for today. Get you some close-ups of that fun texture. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below, do you think it looks better with the saying or without the saying? And depending on what you guys choose, that will probably end up being what I do. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!